These are 10 of Family Guy's darkest episodes. Starting with All About Alana, an episode where the Griffin's maid would try to throw Lois out and take over her life. So we open to a lovely little wedding ceremony involving Peter and not Lois.
Meet Alana Fitzgerald. How she got here is quite a tale, and I'm here to tell it to you.
And I'm here to tell you how he tells it to you. It's kinda the channel's whole thing. So we jump back a month to see Lois teaching Alana piano. Remember when that was a thing? That's gotta be like the first time she's done that in 20 years, right?
Oh, Alana, this lesson has been a treat. You are always the best student.
Alana wants to attend Juilliard but doesn't have the money to apply. So Lois gets an idea of how to help her, which she shouts over the football game to Peter.
I just think we could hire her to help around the house. You know, with the laundry, driving the kids to school, all that stuff.
Does that mean you'll be getting a job, Lois? You pretty much named 2 out of the 3 things you do every day. So Alana is welcomed into the family as a live-in maid.
Oh, Lois, you're so lucky to have such a beautiful family. I didn't grow up with any of this.
Spoken just like someone who would probably murder to get it. Needless to say, Alana hits it off well with the family, but sometimes the perfect household isn't everything it seems.
We'd been so conditioned into believing our mother's life was empty, we couldn't even fathom the idea that another person would want it.
Well, that's certainly one way to describe Lois. But you know what they say. One woman's middling housewife life is another girl's dream come true.
Stewie, eat your vegetables.
Okay, that's pretty good, but I'm on to you.
And over time, Alana begins to take over more and more of Lois's responsibilities.
I'm glad you guys are all enjoying Alana so much.
Oh, she's the best.
A little too the best. Once you take the chores away from Lois, what is she left with? She becomes a soldier without a war to fight. But she really starts to overstep her boundaries when she starts making a move on Peter.
Alana? What are you doing up so?
Man, I only have shadow people walking around my house at 2 a.m. Some people get all the fun. Lois starts to worry a bit about Alana taking over all her duties, so Brian offers to talk to her and figure out if she has any ulterior motives.
Hey, maybe we should discuss this while I brush your fur.
Okay, I see what you're doing.
Yep, she's buttering everyone up like a piece of bread. Brian thinks he's above this brown nosing, but his weakness for duets proves to be his undoing.
Always loving.
Hotter than a baker's oven.
Get out of here!
Brian may not notice it, but it sounds like someone is training to replace a certain someone in the opening theme song.
Why don't I just throw in the difference for this week and get you on your way, huh?
So now Alana has the money she needs for college, but who needs schooling when your true calling is attempted murder?
Here's $1,200. I want Lois Griffin dead by morning.
It's that cheap to do that? Man, I spent my stimulus check all wrong.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Meg. Good morning, Lois. Lois?
Oh yeah, it doesn't get much more psycho than that. Not just because she's dressed like that, but because she's dressed like the woman she just put a hit out on. Are you trying to get sniped by a guy who can't tell the difference? But luckily Alana set a trap for Lois that she knew she couldn't resist.
What the hell?
Yet it's still somehow a better shopping experience than going to a Piggly Wiggly.
Please don't let 2 white women make a podcast about my disappearance.
So with Lois MIA, Peter's come to terms with the fact that he may never love again now that the light of his life is gone.
Hey, Dad, what's for dinner tonight?
Trust me, people have gotten married for a lot less than just needing someone to make dinner.
I hereby...
Okay, so either she's been falling for days, or this is the fastest shotgun wedding I've ever seen. Either way, this is all very confusing.
I just wanted your life so badly. I've never seen a man love his wife as much as Peter loves you.
Did you just recently have your sight restored after being blind all your life? Or live on a remote island? Can't really see you believing that unless at least one of those things is true. Luckily, Alana's arrested before things get too bad, but it's honestly a little disturbing to see not only what she's capable of, but also how quickly Peter can move on after Lois. But what was more disturbing was watching the stress of being an adult become too much for Chris, leading to him crashing out and having a heart attack and trading places. So things start out innocently enough with some Grand Theft Auto involving Peter's new dirt bike.
Come on, Meg. Just get on.
But the spirit of Evel Knievel must have overtaken Chris, because his first thought is to do a stunt with it.
Chris, don't! You're gonna wreck Dad's bike!
Too late. I already narrowed my eyes.
Not sure what the actual stunt was supposed to look like, but something tells me it didn't involve the bike exploding.
Chris, you idiot! Look at what you did!
So the kids are rightly laid into, but they don't see what the big deal is.
I mean, you can always buy another one, right?
Buy another one?
You don't just buy a dirt bike, it chooses you. It takes years of seat straddling until you find the perfect match. Or you just win in a contest like Peter did. But the kids need to learn just how hard being an adult is.
You kids switch places with your dad and me. For the next week, you'll be the parents and we'll be the kids.
Classic sitcom move, right down to having to run back and forth between two dates. Ah, simpler times. So Meg takes on the role of housewife while Chris plays the role of the breadwinner.
Well, I'm off to work at the brewery.
Okay, have a good day, honey.
Well, looks like all that practice kissing in the closet has made this change easy for him. Not saying that's a good thing, just saying it's a thing. And as it turns out, Chris excels in this role, even more so than Peter.
I was kind of skeptical, but you're actually doing good work.
But Lois doesn't expect Meg to do the same.
Can you imagine the disaster she's gonna walk out here with? She has no idea how hard it is to cook.
Well, it's not only her own words she'll be eating, but a full spread too.
Seared ají tostadas, grilled asparagus, couscous, and for dessert, molten chocolate lava cake.
It's amazing what you can accomplish when you aren't crying into a wine glass in the middle of every day.
What about all the housework?
I did it in like an hour. I don't understand why you're such a freaking martyr all the time.
So after getting their butts firmly handed to them, the parents decide to call the whole trial run off.
Kids, we're calling off the experiment early.
What? Why?
Because you were right.
A parent admitting they were wrong? You're more likely to see a unicorn in the wild than see that, but it's sounding like Chris can't exactly walk away.
Angela fired you and hired me. She said I've been doing twice as good a job as you did.
To be fair, if you're just remembering to breathe at work, you're probably doing a better job than Peter. But Chris finds adult life isn't all it's cracked up to be when he learns about the terrors of overtime.
You can handle it, it's just a little extra paperwork.
Sure, it's just extra paperwork now, but then it becomes a project outlining and planning to overthrow small island nations. That's why I quit my job at Home Depot. And of course, Chris brings that stress back home with him.
You know what would be great? If I could come home and have 5 minutes before you jump all over my back!
That good of a day, huh? And pretty soon, he graduates from simply berating the family to full-blown alcoholism.
I want you two to do it right in front of me, and I'm gonna throw $40 on your sweaty bodies.
Hey, money's money. But things get increasingly less silly.
That pain in my stomach is back. Ow!
Sounds like someone's got a case of the stress poots. He's got the right idea, though. I let those out in my parents' room also.
I can fight you both. You don't know what I go through every day.
And Chris quickly reaches his final form. A dad who gets mad about not having enough money.
Maybe we could ask to borrow some from Mr. Quagmire.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
So Chris makes the totally reasonable decision to drag Meg across the neighborhood like a psycho.
Say it!
Chris is a failure.
Okay.
Now we're going to the Swansons.
But he must have forgotten about that heart attack he had penciled in for right now. Gotta get a planner, my guy.
Oh my god! I think Chris is having a heart attack!
We're not supposed to leave the table.
Chris survived, but everything got real super fast. The trading places trope is supposed to be fun and goofy, but the show thought it would be neat to tackle domestic depression and stress-induced health issues in this episode as well. And yet, somehow, this all still looks more appealing than being in high school again. When it comes to listening to music or watching a potentially unhealthy amount of Family Guy, Raycon's everyday earbuds have given me one of the best user experiences that listening devices can provide. By far, what I find the most impressive about Raycon's earbuds is just how effective their active noise cancellation is. Normally, you'd need some big, bulky headphones to drown out the world around you, but Raycon's managed to do it with their tiny earbuds. So whether you're out in the hustle and bustle of the real world or in the comfort of your own home, Raycon allows you to lock in to whatever you're listening to. Plus, if you're like me and forget to recharge your devices until the very last drop, you'll be happy to find out that Raycon's latest model possesses an impressive 32-hour battery life. So you can go an entire day with these things in your ear and wake up the next morning with them still juiced up and ready to go. I've seen a few of you comment that you've used our videos to help lull you to sleep, and you can rest assured that Raycon will make sure I'm the last thing you hear before falling asleep and the first thing you hear when you wake up. Tell me that isn't the dream. They're also both weatherproof and sweat resistant, which with a name like mine, I obviously need, and their ergonomic design is built for comfort for a huge range of ear shapes. Even for a clam like me, who you may have thought didn't have ears. I do. But you gotta pay good money to see those. But seriously, these earbuds have made working on this channel so nice. Whether it be watching several episodes a day while writing the script or making sure my voice is perfectly mixed for your listening pleasure, my Raycons are with me every step of the way. And I want to extend that same satisfaction to you. Go to buyraycon.com/sweatyclam where you'll get 15% off the best-selling everyday earbuds. That's right, Raycon is offering 15% off the everyday earbuds when you go to buyraycon.com/sweatyclam. You'll be supporting the channel a ton if you do, and you'll be upping your listening experience in the process. So check the description or the pinned comment below for the link, and thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the show. But being a surrogate mother would sound appealing for Lois, only for a dark turn of events to make the family question everything in partial terms of endearment. So while attending her 20-year college reunion, Lois reconnects with an old fling.
If he tries anything while I'm standing here, I'm gonna kick him right in the vagina.
And suddenly, Lois having an affair with an ex sounds much more appealing to Peter. Funny how that works, huh?
You see, I'd like to propose something to you and your husband.
Oh my God. I'm dreaming right now.
So instead of finding out the details, Peter jumps to assuming it's exactly what he thinks it is.
Your daddy's gonna have a three-way with your mother and her friend. Isn't that nice about Daddy's three-way?
It's so nice that I'm calling Child Protective Services right now to let them know how cool it is. But when Naomi arrives with her husband, Peter becomes extra confused.
All right, I guess, but I'm doing you last. Joke's on him, I only got 2 in me.
Hey, good on Peter for being willing to play ball. There will be no ball playing tonight, but you know, his heart's in the right place. Right between his legs. But the reason Naomi and Dale are actually here is because they've been struggling to have a baby.
We were wondering if you would be our surrogate.
Oh my God. You want me to carry your child?
I mean, she's already had 3, so this should be a breeze for Lois. It'll feel just like passing gas.
I've given this long and careful thought, and I've decided to carry Naomi and Dale's child for them.
You what?
Glad to see they've discussed this as a couple and are on the same page. But they need a healthy female body, and I guess Lois is as good as they'll find.
I can do it.
Oh, come on, Meg. It was hard enough on your body when you gave birth to Stewie.
What?
Oof, a lot to unpack there. Let's just brush that under the rug and come back to that never. But anyway, Lois goes through with the insemination process, so now it's peeing on a stick time.
It worked, everybody. I'm pregnant.
Damn it, this has gone too far.
You know what's the best way to celebrate a pregnancy? With a good old-fashioned cleaning chemical chugging contest.
Lois, I bet I can drink more bleach than you.
Okay, you know what, Peter? Stop it.
No, let him go first, Lois. I kind of want to see him try. But unfortunately for Lois, a big highway accident throws a bit of a wrench into that plan.
Naomi and Dale Robinson were pronounced dead on arrival at Quahog Hospital.
Oh my God.
Wow, what a bunch of deadbeats dying like that. So with no way to afford 9 months of medical bills, Peter puts his original plan back on the table.
Send it on up to Dale and Naomi. Well, they're probably waiting for it anyway.
It's great to see Peter take this as seriously as returning somebody's sweater. So Peter and Lois go to a family planning center to weigh their options.
I have to say, I feel a little better about it. I think this may be the right thing to do.
Well, we've got the expert's opinion, but we can't forget to get that second opinion from an angry yelling guy in the street.
We are doing all that we can to stop the killing of millions of unborn babies.
Well, when you say it as bluntly as that and include no context, it sounds horrifying. There's even a prepared video to explain just how bad abortion is.
Not only is abortion murder, but it's also larceny, jaywalking, and securities fraud.
Well, the Griffins definitely don't have the money for that kind of bail, so Peter decides to put a stop to Lois's procedure.
Don't you worry, unborn fetus child. I am here to save you and protect you. I have seen the light.
And that's the power a really good video can have on you. Hopefully this video has been enough to compel you to subscribe. Remember, it's your moral obligation.
I'm here to save the unborn. Once they get out of the they can go themselves.
Yeah, I'd say that checks out. So the family goes over pretty much every talking point in the book.
What if carrying the baby to term would endanger the mother's life?
I don't know what 7 of those words were.
Hey, that's more than half, so that's something, I guess. Lois is dead set on getting that procedure, but Peter still won't budge.
Lois, you go down there and I'll blow the place up.
You wouldn't.
You've seen Family Guy, you know I would.
Probably the truest thing said in the last 5 minutes. So Peter and Lois decide to have a very long talk about what their next move should be. A conversation no doubt filled with emotion, understanding, and respect for all beliefs.
We had the abortion.
And that's all, folks. This is not an easy subject to talk about, and the fact that Family Guy decided to take it on with its usual brand of humor is admirable, even if the implications behind it can be seen as quite dark. But what was dark was the time Lois decided to pull the plug on Peter and Coma Guy. So Lois is throwing a cocktail party, but Peter ends up ruining the vibe when the conversation turns to books.
I ain't ever read a book in my entire life.
Never read a book?
Peter's never read a book.
Oh my stars. That man is one of those illiterate types. Somehow that one obvious comment is enough to ruin the party. You're telling me this is the most heinous thing about Peter?
I got a junior high book list here, and starting tomorrow, you are reading one of these books.
So Peter heads to the library to get himself educated.
You guys have 1984?
We've got it on CD. CD.
Half expected her to hit him with the CD's nuts. Genuinely shocked that meme has eluded Family Guy. But there seems to be a bit of a mix-up because Peter ends up listening to Van Halen's 1984.
This is books? Books kick ass!
And like most of Peter's hyperfixations, it leads to a lot of property damage.
I did what you wanted. I went to the library and I got 1984. What a book!
Yeah, can't you tell Peter's rocking George Orwell's iconic look? So Lois has to guilt trip him into returning the CD. Peter's cool with making Lois upset, but when Food starts getting upset, he's gotta change his ways.
Oh my god. But you're always smiling.
So Peter goes to return it to not upset the pancake, but he hits a detour when the giant chicken comes looking for a road race. You just gonna let this guy rub the silky smooth grooves of Stephen Bishop in your face, Peter? Hell no! So both of them floor it, and Peter ends up ahead before his attention gets diverted by a squirrel.
Working squirrel.
Thank goodness that brave tree stepped in before someone could get hurt.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Griffin, but your husband is in a coma.
Oh my god!
Which is slightly better than being in a semicolon, but not as good as being in a regular colon. Ha, punctuation joke.
It's very important that you speak to Peter. He can hear you. Talk about the good times, what he means to you.
Oh man, there are just so many good times to talk about. Lots of good non-PTSD forming memories. But while the family tries to think of one good memory, Peter's going through an absolute nightmare inside his subconscious.
What did I ever do to deserve this?
Well, geez, how much time do you have? We can maybe get done with the list by next week. But it starts to become clear what's going on when a boat full of dead people rolls up to Peter.
Mayor West? Angela? My dad? Quagmire's fat girlfriend who died in the Clue episode?
Heck yeah, Stephanie shout out. I knew my favorite character wasn't going to be forgotten. But back in the real world, Lois is given a difficult choice.
Your husband is brain dead. I'm afraid it's time for you to make your choice.
Let's be honest, the brain dead diagnosis could have been given way before he was sent to the hospital. But inside Peter's subconscious, it seems like he's making that decision himself.
What's the boat's Wi-Fi password?
Oh, there's no Wi-Fi on board.
I don't want to go!
Yeah, if I can't doom scroll on social media before I make it to the afterlife, you're gonna have to kill me to get me to die. So Peter wakes up only to see the pulled plug in Lois's hand.
You pulled the plug on me?
Peter, it was a very difficult decision.
And like all difficult decisions, it only took about 5 minutes to decide. And sure, Peter can be mad about it, but Lois claims it was actually a good thing.
It was a relief.
What?
There, I said it. You know what it's like being married to you?
I don't know, if my wife told me pulling the plug was the best option even when I was alive, how do you even move past that? That's game over.
And then I instantly regretted it, and when you woke up, I was overjoyed.
Think we need to reel back and talk more about how chill you were letting Peter go. That seems to be the more important topic at hand. An understandably upset Peter tries to have the family win his forgiveness, but they think it'd be easier if they just got up and left.
You're leaving?
You'll never hear from us again. It'll be like we died.
I'm sorry, you spent all of 5 minutes letting Peter be upset and you're just ready to throw the relationship away like that? Guilt-tripping a guy you nearly killed is definitely a new one for the playbook.
Guys, please don't go. I love you.
So Peter's able to stop them from leaving, but let's remember, he is apparently the bad guy in this situation. He's nearly taken off life support by his family, and then when he's understandably upset, they just pick up and leave. You know how insane of a plot this has to be to get me on Peter's side? I know it's in my name, but this episode had me sweating. And I know Peter was sweating after he got caught letting the kids know that he doesn't like them in April and Quahog. So things kick off with the announcement of a new discovery.
The first directly observable instance of a black hole, which appears to be located just outside our solar system.
Oh wow, this is sure to be a great thing for the human race.
Neptune and Pluto have already been consumed, and scientists estimate that the event horizon will reach Earth by tomorrow.
Oh no, not my favorite Roman god and my second favorite cartoon dog.
All life on Earth will be destroyed within 24 hours.
Oh my god!
Nothing like the end of the world to make a Wednesday feel like a Friday. So everyone across Quahog begins celebrating their final day on Earth in their own unique ways.
No hard feelings, huh? Psych! Haha! Embedded in the hand.
You know, he could probably do something to stop this, right? No? He's just gonna walk off? Man, Neptune would never leave us hanging like this.
I want you kids to know how much your father and I love you, and how important this family is to us.
So much that he's not even here. He's got bigger plans for his last day.
Hello, everybody. This is Montecore. He's my lion. I have a lion now.
Yeah, but you'd steal a zoo animal any day of the week. You gotta start thinking outside the box, man.
We should spend some time together as a family.
I don't think so, Lois.
But the world is ending.
He doesn't even like to do this when the world isn't ending, so I can't say I'm surprised he's not jumping at the chance to do it now. And as the last minute counts down, Peter only bothers to show up in the final seconds.
Peter, where have you been?
Look, you try scheduling a haircut today.
Look, I'll be damned if I'm gonna go out not looking fresh as hell. And with seconds left to go, Peter thinks it's a good time to air out his true feelings.
I just hate being around the kids.
What?
6, 5. Sorry, I just thought I'd be honest since we're gonna die.
Yeah, about that whole entire world being sucked into a black hole thing.
April Fools!
What?
You gotta be kidding me.
Got him! Sure, it may have cost them tons of deaths and widespread looting, but this is definitely one for the history books.
Wait, what did Dad just say?
Yeah, kinda gonna be hard to spin that one into anything positive.
I know, and I love them, but don't you just sometimes wish they'd run away or get kidnapped and be made to work in a Temple of Doom?
You may actually be the first dad ever to have that exact wish. Unfortunately, you can't really have buyer's remorse after having kids, especially in this economy. No one's buying secondhand children like they used to.
Hey, what's on tap for school today, kids?
Shut up, Dad.
Whatever.
Oof, that's like getting hit with your own finishing move in wrestling. There's no greater dishonor.
They're really me, aren't they?
Oh, look who's starting to get it.
So Peter tries his best to make it up to his kids by getting involved in their interests.
You having your period?
What?
I'm just trying to take an interest in your interests.
My period's not an interest.
And you are doing a masterful job, good sir.
So I got some crystal I figured we could do it together as father and son.
I don't know about that.
Well, he's batting 2 for 2 in my eyes. But that doesn't seem to work for them, so Peter's gonna need to reach into his heart to find the right words to win them back.
I can still be your dad even if we don't have any of the same interests. So what do you say? Are we a family again?
Judging by their expressions, I'm gonna say that's a big fat negative, Ghostwriter. But when heartfelt appeals don't work, there's always something else you can try. Buying your kids love.
Who wants a brand new Xbox?
Yay!
Oh, Daddy!
Oh my god, you're the best father ever!
And so the Xbox saves the family from their own personal red ring of death. Still, isn't it a little bit depressing that some of Peter's last words were gonna be about how much he didn't like his own children? Gonna need to throw him out and get a whole new dad. And based on this type of parenting, it's no surprise that Stewie got sent to a child psychologist who analyzed his insecurities and sent in Stewie please, which led to the kid killing him. So Stewie set up to have a one-on-one with child psychologist Dr. Cecil Pritchfield. He doesn't even have to say anything because Stewie is always looking to yap.
You seem to have a lot of strong opinions.
I do. Mostly because I come across a lot of
What, like detectives? Men named Richard? Honestly, he could have meant one of several things. Hopefully he wasn't speaking literally. But Stewie feels a bit of a connection with Pritchfield because they both share a British accent.
I apologize, but I can't hear it.
You mean to tell me you don't hear me speaking with a British accent right now?
Probably because game recognizes game and Stewie is not the real deal British. Just the fake kind of British you see when someone has an Earl Grey tea once.
So after 5 minutes, you think you know me, is that it?
A little. Perhaps.
But Stewie's a little tired of getting clocked, so he decides to clock the psychiatrist in return, targeting the fact that he's dating a younger man and the fact that he's on heart medication.
How accomplished and affluent you both look in this photo. Just the image Michael is so desperate to project.
Stewie is tearing him up, but of course these are all presumptions. Projections to avoid the truth that haunts Stewie.
You seem like a very lonely little boy.
Oh my god, I am!
Couldn't even keep up the tough guy look for 5 minutes. Pritchfield's reading him like a damn pop-up book.
It seems like you're keeping a lot bottled up inside.
I am. Nobody here likes me, Dr. Pritchfield.
It must be hard to make friends when all you want to do is talk quantum theory and all the other boys want to see how much dirt they can fit in their pants. The burden of being a genius is truly a heavy one, but it doesn't mean Stewie has to be such a jerk.
You pushed a classmate down the stairs.
It was an accident.
Sure, and Archduke Ferdinand was just accidentally touched by a very fast bullet. But really, he did it because he wants Tyler to like him, but not in the way you may think.
This whole thing isn't because I'm gay, so calm down. I can already see you licking your chops.
Well, there you go, shippers and Family Guy theorists. So he's not gay, but he's not necessarily not gay.
Fluid is something I hear being tossed around a lot now. but I'm confident in my heterosexuality.
So he says. If only he could be confident with his real voice.
This isn't even how I really talk. This is how I talk.
I know this is supposed to be a place free of judgment, but I think I like the old voice better. Who would have thought the only British accent in a family of New Englanders would somehow be the most normal sounding option?
I feel relieved. Like a weight has been lifted. I can finally be myself.
And with that, Stewie can finally be just like everybody else, which is starting to not seem as great as it first sounded.
I don't want to be like everybody else.
Why stoop down to everyone's level to be liked when everyone should be more like him? Maybe we all should be putting on British accents. Would you listen to 30 minutes of this every week?
Now, let's talk about...
Uh-oh, looks like Chekhov's pills are coming into play now. Surely Stewie will do the right thing here, right?
Is this because I made you wait?
It's because I can't have anyone know the real me. And so you must die.
That's pretty cold. The man helped Stewie gain some insight into himself and he repays him with death. But look at the glee in that baby's eyes. Killing people is absolutely true to the real Stewie.
So, this is how you leave me.
Sorry.
Even though we've seen him conquer the world and kill countless people, this is still probably one of the darkest things Stewie has done. And all because he got called out for not actually being British. And Brian and Stewie would call each other out on their flaws in the episode Brian and Stewie, which saw them discussing the value of their lives. So Stewie tags along with Brian to the bank for some important safety deposit box stuff.
You have a dead bird in there? What are you going to do with that?
Sure, you're laughing now, but when the dead bird market finally begins to climb, Brian will be the only one laughing. It's not like Stewie should be talking about finances anyway.
It's Tom Brown. It was over $3,000.
You spent $3,000 on a sweater?
Yeah, but looking great is priceless. Not like Brian would know anything about that. Does he even wash that collar? Anyway, they go to leave, but the bank vault door closes on him.
I'm not having fun anymore. I feel you should know that.
Great, now Brian's stuck in here with that piece of crap. And no, I'm not talking about Stewie.
Did you just crap your diaper?
I got scared when the door closed.
So it looks like the two of them are stuck there until morning, but they still have that little brown immediate problem.
I'm not going to be able to stay like this until tomorrow, you know.
Well, I don't know what you expect me to do about it.
Well, Stewie does. Oh, and just some friendly advice. If you happen to be eating right now, maybe hold off on that.
Eat it.
What?
Eat it, Brian.
You're out of your mind.
Oh, so suddenly the guy that loves eating vomit has standards. There seems to be no real way around it, but Brian continues to refuse.
I would shoot myself first.
How are you going to shoot yourself? There's no gun in here.
That's the look of a dog who's packing. Both scramble for the gun, but it's Stewie who ends up pointing it at Brian.
There's not going to be any trouble as long as you eat my poo.
Is this the first time someone's ever demanded this at gunpoint? For the love of all that is holy, please let that be true. But before bullets fly, Brian has a moment of clarity.
Don't you have your cell phone with you?
You're right.
But with a low battery, they can only make one call.
Yes, hi, can you connect me to men's designer wear, please? Thank you.
What are you doing?
This will just take a second.
Stewie may die in here, but he will not die $3,000 poorer.
It's dead. You wasted the one phone call we had to return a sweater?
So Brian hits Stewie out of anger, the two sulk for a bit, and eventually Brian decides to take one for the team.
I can't leave you like this. But you have to swear never to tell anybody.
For the benefit of everyone's stomachs, let's just skip past this part. Trust me though, he does eat it and a little extra. Let's just leave it at that.
Brian, you rock. Thank you so much for doing this.
Well, after that little event, at least Brian and Stewie can just sleep the trauma away until the door opens tomorrow.
I just realized something.
What?
Tomorrow's Sunday.
Ah, well, what's one more day of vault living? If it's good enough for the Fallout games, it's good enough for them. Maybe it could even be fun.
I use you, man.
Yeah, I would know if you were using me.
Oh, you would? I got you to eat my poop.
Oh yeah, that bank vault hysteria is starting to set in. Who would have thought 2 days with no real food or water would put them at each other's throats?
You want to kill me? Kill me with this. Oh, but there are no bullets in it, are there?
Yeah, there are. I lied.
So they let off a little steam, fire a rapidly ricocheting bullet, and finally they're ready to calm down and be sensible.
I keep it in case I ever want to commit, okay?
Oof, vibe shift. Suddenly this whole ordeal went from two friends getting drunk and firing guns like any American, and now we're talking life or death meaning of existence stuff.
When you said, I don't live with purpose, you were right.
So Brian basically thinks that he doesn't live in the moment and doesn't have a reason to live. Kinda rough considering the guy that gets his reason to live from Brian is sitting next to him.
But the truth is, you're my only friend, Brian. If I didn't have you, I'd be lost.
Though they may not always realize it, Brian and Stewie play integral parts in each other's lives, and each would be considerably worse off if not for the other.
I love you as one loves another person whom one simply cannot do without.
Honestly, this is the most moving and introspective the show has ever been. Almost makes you forget this episode kicked off with some poop eating. I almost forgot, and of course I had to ruin it for myself. Thanks, brain. But a teleportation device would ruin a great trip to Las Vegas, leading to copies of Brian and Stewie both meeting a grisly end in Road to Vegas. So at Quahog Pride Day, 2 tickets to see Celine Dion in Vegas are up for a raffle.
Our grand prize winner is Brian Griffin.
This is big because he never wins at anything, earning people's respect, a healthy relationship with his son, life in general, and there's probably only one guy best suited for that second ticket.
But I was wondering if you want to go to Vegas with me and see Celine Dion.
Are you kidding? Of course I want to go!
A baby of taste, I see. Celine Dion is Canada's greatest export next to petroleum, and the pronunciation of about is a boot. And Stewie has a way to expedite the trip so they can get to the good stuff faster.
I recently completed construction on a teleportation device, and it occurred to me this may be the perfect chance to try it out.
Good thing you brought that up after Brian spent a few $100s on plane tickets. You're supposed to flush your money away in Vegas, not before.
Teleport to Vegas, huh? All right, let's do it.
So they step on the pad, fire up the machine, and it doesn't work. But the good news? They may now have radiation poisoning. Yay!
What the hell, Stewie? It didn't work.
Oh, that's odd. It appears there may still be a few more bugs to work out.
Well, I don't know if it's a bug or a feature, but the teleporter's not just a teleporter, but a cloning device as well that sends a copy of the two to send to Vegas.
You know, this is going to be a good trip, Brian. I really feel like fate is on our side.
But as we'll soon find out, fate is a bit of a double agent here. So the clone Stewie and Brian start to enjoy the world of Las Vegas, checking into their hotel, and immediately hitting big.
Oh my god, I don't believe it! Brian, we won! We won the jackpot! Oh, this is unbelievable!
No, what's unbelievable is that crowd watching and not swarming on all those coins like a flock of hungry vultures. I'll kick a baby for some Vegas gains, you don't know me. And hours later, the original Brian and Stewie are unable to check into their room and strike out on that same slot machine.
Ah, damn it, Vegas!
Somebody get Mr. John Vegas on the phone and let him know this is unacceptable. So while the clones are living the good life, the originals are forced to shack up in a dirty off-strip motel.
Oh my god, this place is a dump!
True, but this is usually the kind of place you'd find yourself in after you lost everything in Vegas. Maybe if you start from the bottom, there's nowhere left to go but up.
Hey Stewie, I need some more money.
I lost it all, Brian!
Well, what do you know? There is someplace lower than the bottom. So with no money left, maybe it's for the best if Brian puts his tail between his legs and Stewie puts something else between his legs and they both just go home.
I may have gambled away our plane tickets.
You what? How do you even do that?
That's Vegas, baby. You can gamble away anything. Tickets, deeds, birth certificates. Just last year, I won a guy's pinky toe in a game of Texas Hold'em. Not sure what to do with that, but it feels good to have. So in order to get back on their feet, Brian and Stewie take out a loan from a loan shark and put it all into sports betting.
We lost, Brian.
Oh crap, we're screwed.
Yeah, that's not a shocker. Can't rely on loan sharks. Where does a shark even get that kind of money? But in a weird twist of fate, the clone Stewie grabs the wrong backpack, leaving the originals with all the money.
I've got a bad feeling, Brian. I've got a good feeling, Brian.
Well, pretty soon, 2 of you won't be feeling anything at all. So the loan shark follows the clones and demands their money, but they don't have the money anymore, so...
No, kill him! He's a baby! He won't even remember he was alive!
You son of a...
Ah, Stewie!
Flawless thought process, Brian. Do dead people usually forget they were alive? And back at the crappy hotel, the originals don't realize they have all the money, so they decide to end things their way before the loan sharks come for them. At least that was the plan anyway.
3!
I'm sorry, I can't! I want to live! I didn't really think we were gonna do it!
You
Don't worry, he was a dog, so he probably won't even remember he was alive. Sure, Stewie just watched his best friend die, but at least he has a bag full of money for his troubles.
Well, looks like Archibald Meatpants is gonna have a fun night.
But the next day, the last living Brian and Stewie meet up, and everything starts to click into place.
The machine must have created 2 pairs of us. One that was teleported to Las Vegas, and the other that wasn't.
What a great experiment, and it only costs seeing your friend die violently. Vegas really is one of the most magical places on Earth. And Quagmire would quickly lose all the magic that comes from dating a woman as kinky as him when she takes things a little too far in Quagmire's Quagmire. So Quagmire's having trouble with his new computer. I always forget he's like 60 and reacts to new technology like a caveman seeing fire for the first time.
I can't find my photos.
Did you look under photos?
What is that?
It's a folder called photos.
Bless the tech support people who put up with these questions on a day-to-day basis. You should get a bonus every time restarting the device fixes the issue.
Oh my god, it crashed! The whole thing just crashed! Jeez, Quagmire, calm down, we'll figure it out.
So Quagmire takes it back to the store to get it fixed, but he forgets to close out all his tabs.
Okay, I see what your problem is.
Rookie mistake. You gotta be in incognito mode and behind so many VPNs and proxies that you can't even remember your real name. But it turns out this is the exact kind of stuff this tech is into.
Wow, so you're into that kind of stuff too?
Uh-huh.
It's always heartwarming to see absolute degenerates find each other. Helps keep them off the streets. So the two go out on a date, with Sonia pulling a Quagmire on Quagmire.
Oh my god! You feed me?
Are you mad?
No! I'm in love.
Again, they're doing a public service by doing this stuff to themselves instead of others. I guess that's a good thing?
I'm telling you guys, Sonia is the perfect woman. She's every bit as kinky and as insatiable as I am.
This town can barely handle one Quagmire, now there's two? Just to be safe, let's get the National Guard on standby. And so the pair set out on a journey of freakiness that only gets weirder and weirder.
Let's do it until we've created every character in the Chinese alphabet.
Weird isn't even a good way to describe it. Downright revolting is probably better.
I want you to have sex with your father.
What?
I wish I could say Quagmire knows when to say no. I wish I could say that.
Did you enjoy your stay at the Marriott?
No, I did not.
Lock up everyone involved and go ahead and demolish the entire hotel just to be safe. But the guys start to notice the obvious and begin to worry for Quagmire.
Yeah, it seems like lately that girlfriend of yours has taken things a little too far.
You think having to speak through written cries for help is too far? And unfortunately for Quagmire, Sonia has no plan to slow things down.
This is one of your fantasies, right? Public humiliation? It's sexy, isn't it?
If lifelong mental scars and lasting PTSD are sexy, then hell yeah it is. But once he's stuffed into the trunk of his car, Quagmire realizes he's in for a very rough night.
Oh, I'm gonna clean out your trunk. Giggity.
That's my word! That's my word!
But when a night turns into several days, Ida begins to worry about him.
I've already checked Glenn's house and there's no sign he's even been there. I'm afraid something terrible has happened.
Which is weird, because the usual vibe of his place is something terrible has happened, but I guess it's different now that he's on the receiving end. Giggity. No, this is no time for a giggity. So Peter, Joe, and Ida check his usual spots, but it takes a rando on the street who overheard Sonia to figure out where he's gone.
I've heard she has a unit at Quahog storage. Apparently that chick's a complete psycho.
They do need to hurry up and get there, but I would also love to see a Storage Wars episode detailing her unit. But thankfully, they track down the locker and find Quagmire with all of his appendages still attached, for now at least.
Glenn! Hurry, she'll be back soon.
Like, immediately, actually. It's like she has a sixth sense when her toy's getting freed.
Well, what's this? We got company?
Hold it right there.
Easy, Joe, that might be one of her kinks. You could be making her stronger. But Sonia grabs the gun from Joe, though he's ready to start bluffing.
Oh, I don't think you're gonna shoot me. You don't got the
What?
I don't know.
Don't worry, Joe, it made sense to me. But it turns out she does have them, but the gun wasn't even loaded, giving Joe a chance to make the save.
The gun was never loaded. Sorta had a mental breakdown in April. No more bullets for this guy.
Yay for Joe being a threat to everyone around him. To see Quagmire of all people in this kind of position is disturbing to say the least, but luckily he was able to walk away with only minimal life-ruining damage.
My dad's pregnant with my kid.
Scratch that, I meant the maximum life-ruining damage. And Quagmire would try to fix the ruined life of his sister when he and the guys team up to kill her abusive boyfriend in Screams of Silence: The Story of Brenda Q. So Peter and Joe are waiting on Quagmire to go fishing, but he seems to be a no-show. It's kinda awkward when there isn't a third man here, huh?
2/3 of the planet is water.
Yeah.
Alright, you guys, let's save the great philosophical questions for later and go see what Quagmire's up to.
Holy crap! Oh my god! He must have autoerotically asphyxiated himself!
Hang in there, Quagmire! I mean, stop hanging in there. Look, you know what I mean. So Quagmire is now in a coma, so his sister Brenda is gonna come visit along with her boyfriend Jeff, who is just a ball of sunshine.
Shut up and limp! We're in a handicap spot, you
But luckily her presence seems to be what pulls him out of his coma.
Thank God you're all right!
Hey, you touching my girl?
Relax, Jeff, that's her brother.
Sure, for now. Bravo to this guy in his fight against inbreeding. So Brenda and Jeff agree to stay with Quagmire while he recovers, which is just as pleasant as it sounds. For a guy who gets up to a lot of degenerate things, I'd really expect him to have thicker walls.
Can I put my nightgown back on?
No, I'm not done drawing!
Great, he's a bad boyfriend and a pretentious artist. Lois tries to have Brenda see the truth of how bad their relationship is, but she's pretty blinded.
Jeff's sweet. You don't see how soft and gentle he hits me when we're alone.
Lois, for once, please lock in and focus on helping this woman.
Our relationship is just complicated, that's all.
No, Brenda, it's not complicated.
Making a YouTube video while completely underwater is complicated, but this is pretty cut and dry and clear as crystal. Quagmire wants Joe to take some legal action, but he says he can't do that unless Brenda goes to the police.
Sorry, Quagmire. Police policy, we can't step in until it's too late.
Well, then maybe they should change your official title from officer to janitor, since all you can do is clean up the mess apparently. So they decide to hold an intervention for Brenda, which doesn't seem to work out.
Look, I know what you guys are trying to do, but Jeff and I are fine.
No, Brenda, you're not fine, okay?
Oh yeah? Well, if it wasn't fine, would they be getting married? Everybody knows that you can only get married when two people love each other very much.
I'd show you the ring, but it's under the splint. My finger fell down the stairs.
It's too bad the guys can't just take care of this themselves, what with murder being illegal and all.
We go over there and we do what's right. We kill a bastard.
Whoa, Quagmire.
That idea is too based. Unfortunately, Joe is also a member of the fun police, but like regular police, there's always a chance for them to turn a blind eye.
Let's waste this.
So the guys convince Jeff to join them on a casual midnight hunting trip, but he catches on to their plot pretty quickly.
I'm just gonna point my gun straight at his head before he even knows what's going on.
Kinda like this?
Yeah, that's excellent form, Jeff. You come out to the woods to shoot people in the head often?
I'm taking Quagmire for a little ride, and you guys are gonna stay out here and freeze to death!
Seems like a fair trade. So Jeff knocks Peter and Joe out and takes Quagmire deeper into the woods to off him.
You know, if you had any balls, you'd put that gun down and we could settle this like men.
Well, judging by the difference in body type, it looks like we may have a coughing baby versus a hydrogen bomb battle here. Jeff thinks he's won, but what he doesn't realize is that getting choked out is just another Tuesday for Quagmire.
I choke myself every day, you bastard.
Finally, his degeneracy leads to one positive thing. And with that, Quagmire flattens him on a tree with the car, ending his life of terror. The guys frame it to Brenda as Jeff leaving her, but she's not as stoked as they'd hoped.
Wow. I guess he's really gone.
Yeah, this was supposed to be a happy ending, but I'm not exactly smiling. It's a reflection of the cruel reality of abusive relationships. Even when they end, there's still a hint of sadness over it. At least it was kind of funny? Yeah, that didn't even sound right coming out of my mouth. But if you need some funny videos, be sure to subscribe to the Sweaty Clam channel so you can get your fill on a ton of Family Guy videos, with new ones hitting your feed every week.